Alright guys, hello, my name is Matthew Marvin, also go by ThePokerGypsy. Today we're going to talk about something that's very important. It's been on my mind for a long time. Been wanting to make this video. It's called bankroll management, and I hope you don't mind. Honestly, well, I don't care if you don't mind, but I'm going to eat my ice cream while I do this video. So, first things first. I know you've heard this before, but poor bankroll management will absolutely kill the greatest of poker players. I know many poker players, all right? Traveled the country, been playing. There's a lot of poker players out there who are way better than I am. But unfortunately, they don't last in the game because they can't manage their money. So the first step, which you need to do, obviously, you need to practice and play. What I highly recommend you do is you start with the free apps. I give you plenty of examples. I review games all the time. Crush them. But while you're playing and doing some self-development, you need to be monitoring yourself. You need to be looking for two things, especially when it comes to cash games. Okay, one, what's your biggest daily downswing? Number two, what's your biggest overall downswing that you've overcame? Now, once you figured out those two things, then you can start to play poker. That's when you start to figure out the game. That's when you start to learn the parameters of the game. Algorithm. Now, when I say your biggest downswing of the day, right? Like how much have you spent in a day? For me, when I first started playing, my worst downswing for a day was $5,000 in a 1-3 game. Yeah, I did it. And overall, throughout my 1-3 career, the most I've ever lost consistently was about 15 grand. And that was about a month. So yes, when we sit down at the poker table, understand that I'm the guy who came back from a $15,000 loss. That's a grind. What a lot of players don't understand is that's where your strength comes from. A lot of people look at downswings as a bad thing. Yeah, it is. But that's where your strength comes from. Your strength comes from overcoming those downswings. Let me tell you something. Once you lose $15,000 and come back, $5,000, $10,000 losses really ain't all that much anymore. So basically, you're out there trying to figure out what's the most amount of money you can lose and recoup. I'm going to tell you a pro tip. Very important. Your long-term success will never be greater than your level of self-development. Remember that one. These downswings are a very important part of your self-development. So a lot of people are afraid of, a lot of people don't understand. Now, when you're measuring your total downswing, okay, don't measure it from zero. This is the part that a lot of people get messed up at. You measure it from one point to another. Your high point to your low point. That's what you need to figure out. You don't want to measure from zero because let's say you win 200 bucks, right? And you want to go buy a pair of new shoes. So you go buy a new pair of shoes. And then in your mind, you're back at zero. No, that's incorrect. You want to measure your down point from that plus $200. If you're up $200 and you lose $500, you still lost $500. Now, some of you guys will take this situation and be like, okay, well, I only lost $300. No, that's not the case. You lost $500. You went on a $500 downswing because there's nothing that says you cannot go on a $500 downswing starting from zero. Show me the rule book. So learn to analyze yourself properly. So someone once asked Daniel Negreanu about bankroll management. He was asked, how much money should you need for a bankroll? And he replied, well, it depends on how much you want to succeed. How badly do you want it? And as you guys can see, that's why I run a backup business. If I go bust in poker, well, let's go out there and get the money another way. As far as backers go, I don't condone it, because my thing is, if I'm good at flipping money, why would I flip somebody else's money? To me, people who have backers lack confidence. Some of you guys think you just need money. Some of you guys think that the reason you're not beating the game is because you don't have enough money to beat it. And you don't even know the parameters of the game yet. You don't even know what your biggest loss daily or total is. Let's say you guys take my advice and go play these free apps with unlimited money. Because, you know, they always give you ways to earn money, like videos. You could buy game coins for cheap. You know, pull slot machines, spin the wheel, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is, if you take my advice and go play these games, they give you an unlimited amount of money. And some of you guys can't beat it with the unlimited amount of money. So you don't have a money problem. You have a skill problem. If you cannot beat the high stakes poker playing on free money apps, then no, I cannot consider you a pro. I'm sorry. See, a lot of you guys think that poker is about taking a few buy-ins to the casino and flipping that money and paying bills with it. Absolutely not. You guys got it wrong. It's about taking a bankroll and making more correct decisions than wrong decisions within your bankroll. And again, you need to find out what your biggest daily loss is and what your biggest downswing is in order to know what your bankroll even is. Some people's bankroll is different from others. And some people switch games. Are you playing No Limit Hold'em or are you playing PLO? You've got two different bankrolls from both games. Tournament's a different bankroll also. When you measure your downswing, you can do it by units. So, like I said, my biggest daily loss was $5,000 in 1-3. Also, $15,000 was my biggest downswing. So what I can do is I could take that from 1-3 and I could convert it to 2-5, 5-10, whatever. But I've got to measure by units. For my tournament players, you got to know your percentages. You got to play enough. You got to monitor yourself enough, okay? So just to give you guys an example, so for daily tournaments, anything below 30 players, I'm 50%. Anywhere between 30 and 100 players, I drop down to 30%. The crazy part is, anywhere between 100 and 1,500, I'm 20%. So this is just to give you guys numbers to go off of. And I hope you guys know that when you monitor yourself, you need to play one stake consistently to figure out your downswings. Alright, so the strategy for moving up in stakes. So, let's say you got $15,000 for a bankroll at 1-3. If you want to move up to 2-5, well, you need to have that entire bankroll for 2-5. That's equivalent to your $15,000 at 1-3. But not only do you need to have that, you still have to have that original $15,000 for 1-3. So, original $15,000 for the 1-3 bankroll, and then you need to make a bankroll for 2-5. Now you do this strategy because let's say you have to drop back down in the stakes. Let's say you move up to 2-5 and you get busted. Well, what are you going to do now? You can go out there and work, make money, or you're going to drop down stakes. Luckily, you've got the bankroll to do that. So let's say you want to move up to 510. You need that bankroll for 1-3. You need that bankroll for 2-5. And then you need to build that bankroll for 510. I personally would always stay at least 2 stakes behind. So yes, if I want to go play poker for one day, I make sure I have at least $5,000 I can dedicate to poker. And if I don't spend that much, well, hey, guess what? Extra money in the bank. You know, it's like driving on a beautiful day. It's not the beautiful sunshine, trees, scenery that's going to ruin your day. It's that pothole that you're not watching because you're too busy looking at the clouds. So you think you're ready to go pro? A few things you need to ask yourself. Can you beat high stakes on the free app? Number 2, what's your biggest downswing? Number 3, do you have the money equivalent to your biggest downswing and the money to pay your bills for 6 months minimum? Some questions you need to ask yourself. Now also, if I'm going to play on a live stream, I only bring about 4 buy-ins because it's only about 4 or 5 hour stream, so that's max. Pro tip, if you're going to go play live streams, always bring a bigger stake buy-in than what you're going to play for. Let's say you're going to play for 1-3, make sure you bring enough money for a 2-5 game. Happens often. Sometimes the whales are playing and they want to play bigger games when the live stream starts. And most live streams start late, so the bank's closed. What are you going to do? Also, what you could do is you could buy chips ahead of time. Let's say you buy in for 1,000, buy 3,000 in chips and keep the other 2,000 behind you. It'll save you time from going to the cage, fighting through a crowd. It gets rough out there.